So before we start this video, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am going to be doing a Q&A very soon. To leave questions, all you have to do is drop a comment on the community post which will be linked in the description below. With that being said, let's get on with the video. Hey guys, it's me Ram here, and exactly 1 year ago, I made this video where I compared all of the best magnetic Pyraminxes on a tier list. Now here's the thing, since I made that video, there's only been one new Pyraminx, the Chi MP Pyraminx. However, my opinions have changed a lot on all of these Pyraminxes since I made that video. Therefore, I thought that would be a good idea to go ahead and make a 2021 update of this tier list. Just a quick disclaimer before we begin. This entire template was made completely by me, so if you want to make your own Pyraminx tier list, feel free to do so. I'll link this exact template down in the description below. And if you do end up making a video out of it, I'd highly appreciate it if you gave me credit. Now before I get on to making the tier list, let me just quickly go over which cubes these are. Starting from the left, we have the original Moyu magnetic Pyraminx right here. This one is the Yushin Honglong Pyraminx. This one right here is the X-Man Bell V1 Pyraminx. This one right here is the Shengshao Mr. M Pyraminx. This one right here is the MFJS Meilong M Pyraminx. This one right here is the Chi MS Pyraminx. This one right here is the X-Man Bell V2 Pyraminx. This one right here is the Gyan Pyraminx M Standard. This one right here is the Gyan Pyraminx M Enhanced. This one right here is the Yushin Little Magic Pyraminx M. And this one right here is the newcomer, the Chi MP Pyraminx. Now the reason I didn't include the Gyan Pyraminx M Explorer is because it's pretty much the same base cube as the Gyan Pyraminx M Standard. However, you get the extra GS nuts to play around with. Anyway, with all that being said, let's get right on to the tier list. If you want to buy these Pyraminxes or any other Speedcube, be sure to get it at Speedcube shop and use the discount code RAM for 5% off your order, as well as a shout out at the end of my latest video. Now I'm going to be starting out with the original Moyu magnetic Pyraminx, which was the first ever mass produced magnetic Pyraminx. Overall, according to me, this puzzle was pretty trash. It was way too unstable and the corner cutting wasn't great. On top of that, the magnets were really light. Surprisingly, a lot of people seem to enjoy this puzzle even more than the X-Man Bell V1, which was released just afterwards. However, according to me, it was just an unstable locky mess and I could never get good times on it, and as of now, I don't know any competitive Pyraminxers who use it. Therefore, for all of these reasons, I think I'm gonna drop this off into C tier. Now let's move on to the Yushin Honglong M Pyraminx. Just like the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx, I didn't like this puzzle at all. The corner cutting was absolutely terrible and it was really unstable according to me. It did have stronger magnets than the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx, however, I just couldn't get good times on it. However, for some reason a lot of fast Pyraminxers seem to enjoy it, but as of now, no one really uses it. Therefore, I think I'm gonna drop this off into C tier as well. Now let's move on to the most iconic Pyraminx on the market according to me, the X-Man Bell V1. Even though this was released right at the time of the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx, this puzzle according to me is 10,000 times better than the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx. This puzzle actually had really strong magnets, which was a very big plus point for me because my turning on Pyraminx isn't all that accurate, and the feeling overall was so nice and so smooth. The reverse corner cutting on this puzzle was also insane at the time, and all in all, this puzzle was just so reliable. Even though it was released back in 2016, there are still quite a few Pyraminxers who currently main it, and because of all of these amazing qualities, I think I'm gonna have to drop it off into A tier. I'd seriously consider maining this puzzle if I absolutely had to, and if you don't like any of the newer options today, I'd highly recommend trying out this one. Now let's move on to the Shengshao Mr. M Pyraminx. The person who popularized this puzzle was actually Steven Winteringham, aka GhostCuber on YouTube. Back in 2019, he realized that setting up this puzzle and doing a bunch of mods to it would actually make it a really well performing puzzle. Steven actually ended up switching to this puzzle, and along with him, a bunch of fast Pyraminxers also ended up switching. It actually has some really good corner cutting, the magnet strength is absolutely perfect, and the turning is incredibly satisfying. Thank you so much Steven for discovering this amazing puzzle, and due to all of these qualities, I think I'm gonna drop it off into A tier. The only reason I'm not giving it S tier is because it needs a lot of mods and a really good setup to actually be good. However, as of now, this puzzle is my backup main. Now let's move on to the Moyu Meilong M Pyraminx. This puzzle straight away goes into F tier. Its tips are so weird and so clicky, and like overall is just a very quirky puzzle overall. I know this is a very popular option amongst beginners, and if any beginner is actually watching this video right now, honestly, just stay away from this puzzle. Its turning is incredibly rough and the corner cutting is horrible. It absolutely is not worth it, and it totally deserves its spot into F tier. Now let's move on to the Chi MS Pyraminx, which is also a really popular option amongst beginners. It's actually a pretty good puzzle overall, however, I have two major problems with it. Firstly, the tip magnets are just way too weak. The amount of +2s I've had on this puzzle because of that is like actually not even funny, and that's a major drawback according to me. Secondly, the forward and the reverse corner cutting on this puzzle is just not as good as some of the other Pyraminxes on the market. This causes quite a few weird catches and lockups which honestly just ruin the solving experience for me. Despite all of this, it's a really cheap puzzle and very popular among beginners, therefore I think I'm gonna drop it off into B tier. Now let's move on to the X-Man Bell V2, which as of now is the only Pyraminx available with adjustable magnet strength. Overall, the turning on this puzzle is pretty nice and satisfying, however, the one thing that ruins it is its reverse corner cutting. Unlike its predecessor, the X-Man Bell V1, the reverse corner cutting on this puzzle is just not as good as some of the other Pyraminxes on the market, which does cause some weird catching. However, that being said, it used to be quite a popular option amongst pro solvers, therefore I think I'm gonna drop it off into B tier. Now let's move on to the GAN Pyraminx M Standard. Because it's GAN, the feeling of this puzzle was incredible and the corner cutting was also insane. However, the biggest problem with this puzzle was that the magnet strength was just way too weak. Overall, it was never really a top option for the pro Pyraminx solvers out there. However, I think it's better than what we have in C tier and it's worse than what we have in A tier. Therefore, I'm gonna balance it out and drop it into B tier. Now let's move on to its brother, the GAN Pyraminx M Enhanced. This puzzle had stronger magnets than the standard and it also got the GS nuts that the Explorer got. Overall, this puzzle is a decently popular option amongst top solvers. However, according to them, it's just a little bit too unstable and flexible and the magnet strength is not nearly as strong as they'd like it to be. Despite all of that, I think I'm gonna drop this puzzle off into A tier because the feeling of this puzzle was just incredibly satisfying and it was better than the standard overall. Now let's move on to the Yushin Little Magic Pyraminx M, which has a very similar story to the Shengshao Mr. M Pyraminx. Just like the Mr. M Pyraminx, you just had to set it up right and do a few mods to it to make it perform really good. However, here's the difference. The mods on the Yushin Little Magic Pyraminx M are nowhere near as extensive as on the Shengshao Mr. M. The speed and the feel of this puzzle are pretty amazing, the magnet strength is quite good, and on top of all of that, this puzzle is so cheap. Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to Steven for discovering this puzzle and showing us how good it truly is. It's currently my main Pyraminx and I'm not hesitating to drop it off into S tier. When I did this tier list last year, I actually dropped the Yushin Little Magic Pyraminx into F tier. However, the one I tried was not a magnetic version, so if you're getting the YLM Pyraminx, definitely go for the magnetic version of it. Moving on to the final puzzle on this tier list, the Chi MP Pyraminx, which is the newcomer. I haven't tried this one yet, however from what I see in videos of it, the turning seems to be pretty good. However, my friend Elias Ayu, who's a really good Pyraminxer from New Zealand, actually had his core stripped while he was setting it up. This honestly seems to be a really bad design flaw, and in this case I don't really think I can give anything higher than a C. All in all, I think I'm pretty happy with this tier list. If you feel like making your own tier list, I'll link this exact template down in the description below. Feel free to use it. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. Goodbye. Hey everyone, so before we end off this video, I just want to give yet another shout out to Solver5k for using my discount code at Speedcube shop. He ordered a GAN 11M Duo in the sale for just $21, which is pretty epic. And yep, once again, thank you so much for using my discount code for the third time. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching this video again and I hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.